Are hashtags dead and no longer relevant on Instagram? In today's video, we are going to talk about Instagram's recent announcement on their creator account about hashtags and strategy, and I'm going to be sharing my screen and sharing with you guys what you can do to actually improve your hashtag game on Instagram. You see, here's the thing, there's a lot of misinformation on hashtags because so much of it was trial and error. So much of it was like creators testing things and seeing what worked for them. And yes, I have creators that I work with daily that are seeing really good results from their hashtags that when they did hear about Instagram changing up hashtags were quite upset. Like someone here, like Stacy, as you can see on the screen, she's part of our community, Hot Flashes and Boarding Passes. She's an amazing creator and super fun. But as you can see, look at the majority of her impressions. They are coming from hashtags, right? So this does require us to kind of just have some trust in the algorithm, which I know is hard because hashtags gave a sense of control. They gave creators and people using them a sense of like, okay, well, if I do my research and if I plan it out right, then I'm gonna get the visibility and reach that I want, right? Well, it appears that Instagram is really refining their algorithm. And what this means is they're letting us know that we need to put less hashtags for a reason. They're not describing the tech work that goes behind into building their super robust algorithm, right? And for me, when I hear from the Instagram creators account that we need to lower our hashtags, it's because there's some stuff happening behind the scenes to really refine recommendations, to refine maybe search, because hashtags will not be necessary. We've seen tons of news coming out as well on Instagram about Instagram search and how important search is and how we need to be putting keywords into our captions, into our bio, into our location, right? These are all signals that things like hashtags, which were really popular and probably most popular out of all the platforms, Instagram. People loved hashtags on Instagram. Heck, there have been apps and tons of businesses just built on Instagram hashtag strategy. But this is telling us that it's bulky, that Instagram is saying, hey, you know what? You no longer need to put 30 keywords or 30 hashtags. Let us do the work. Let us find a way to get your content to the people that want to see your content, right? It's almost like relieving us of it. And I know it's a scary thing to have to do and jump in, especially as a creator, because we want to make sure we do it right. But I want to let you guys know that I don't think that this is a bad thing. I think this means that Instagram is refining the way it does stuff. Now, I want to quickly share my screen on something that happened to me the other day when I was scrolling on stories. Now, as you guys can see here, I was on stories and at the top, as I was swiping, all of a sudden this popped up, suggested for you. I'm like, huh? I've never seen this before. And I clicked shuffle suggestions because you guys know me, I'm always testing and seeing what's happening. And it's telling me other accounts that I should follow. It's telling me other accounts that are similar to the content that I already consume, right? Maybe I already know these people. Maybe they're Facebook friends of mine. Maybe they're people that I'm already connected to in some way, but don't follow them on Instagram. So this is a huge indicator for me to see this within stories that Instagram is doing these type of advancement to make sure that you get to the content that you want to see, right? So this is just one example of what Instagram is doing to refine their recommendations, to make sure that they're getting you the content that you want, and that it also is working behind the scenes to do really cool stuff when it comes to search. Now, as promised, I'm gonna jump in, share my screen, and really dive into what Instagram is telling us to do for our hashtag strategy. And what I love about this, guys, is I'm gonna be sharing a lot of information from the Instagram creators account, which really clears up transparency, right? It really is coming directly from the source, so we know there isn't any muddled information, and we can go ahead and read it. You know, I'm gonna be reading it to you. I'm gonna be going through it, giving you my thoughts, and how we can work together to, you know, use hashtags the way Instagram wants us to use hashtags. Now, before I go in and jump in, make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already so that you are up to date on all things social, creator, influencer, because that's what our channel does. We post content on this sort of stuff all the time. So make sure you hit subscribe so you're kept in the loop. Okay, let's go ahead and jump in. So the first tip Instagram is giving us to use hashtags, because they're not saying, hey, it's gone all the way, we've gotten rid of them. I think they think that would be way too dramatic on us creators creators and would affect us. So they're like really taking it slowly, step by step. But the first tip that they're telling us is do use hashtags that are relevant to the theme of your content. So a lot of creators, I think, were putting things on their hashtags that were not relevant to the actual photo as a way to maybe drive traffic. So back in the day, we would see a lot of people that said stuff like hashtag pick of the day or hashtag like, I don't know, the explore page, things that they were just saying that had nothing to do with the photo. Instagram is telling us, please don't do that. And if they're telling us to only use hashtags relevant to the theme of the photo, that probably means you will be rewarded if you do that. And if you don't, maybe the algorithm is not going to help you get your content out there. So I would take these recommendations seriously, especially if you're going to be doing hashtags as part of your strategy. They also recommend for you to check and see which hashtags your fans are already using to look up content. So oftentimes my people will say, well, how do I figure that out, Nina, or whatever? Obviously there's like a quick search you can do and like look at the people who are commenting on your page, see what type of hashtags are they putting on their posts. But you could also just ask your audience, right? You can survey them. You can ask them in polls, what hashtags do you guys follow the most? You know, it's really important as a creator that you have a direct line to your audience and that you feel like you can just pose these questions to get the answers that you need. Now, the next tip is quite well known. Instagram is telling us to do mix like broad hashtags with niche hashtags, which is really just going after hashtags with larger search and mixing them in with hashtags with a lower search. And this is because they're trying to tell you, okay, you don't have to be like super specific. You can do some hashtags that are a little bit broader. So for example, in my example, if I was doing a post on influencer marketing, maybe one of my hashtags would be hashtag influencer, which is a bit broader, and then hashtag media kit, which is obviously going to be a lot more niche of a hashtag. So you can still mix them as long as they're relevant to the post. Now, I love that Instagram is even recommending for you to create your own hashtag because again, as a creator, it's important that you are like authority, that you create community. Even at Sidewalker Daily, I don't know if you guys know, but if you look up our hashtag, we have over 600,000 tags in our hashtag. And this is because we are a community on Instagram. People have been hashtagging their content with our hashtag forever. So I think it's pretty cool that Instagram is now telling people to do this as well. So especially creators, like create your own hashtag so people can find your content. Now, here is the big piece of news in it all that people were like freaking out, especially the creators in my Inner Circle program, which is my private membership of creators. That's where we meet and talk and get on Zoom calls and do all that good stuff about all things industry. This is where people are like, what? And our WhatsApp chat was going crazy because basically Instagram is telling us, do keep the number of hashtags between 3 and 5. This is when it felt like everyone was like, wait a second, we are literally using 30 hashtags. Like we are they're all really researched. Everything is really intense. And now they're telling us to use 3 to 5. But again, before we get crazy, let's understand, what does that mean? One, Instagram is probably, again, working really, really hard to make sure that the algorithm is tight so that it can recommend your content to the right people. Two, anything above 3 to 5 is bulky. Maybe it's weighing down the post. I mean, I don't know, I'm just making that up, but they're telling us to do something. So if you don't do that and you're putting more, it kind of is making me feel like that's something that you should not do. If Instagram is specifically telling you to do this and you're like, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. So of course, in the beginning, there may be you have to kind of figure out what works for you and what you feel comfortable. Maybe you're not gonna drop all 30 right away. Maybe you're gonna stay at 10 or 15 and go down. But again, that's on you because this is what Instagram's telling us to do. So my advice would probably be to follow what the guidelines are telling you because there's a reason for it. So let's talk about some hashtag don'ts. Don't use things that have nothing to do with your page. We talked about that, right? The hashtag explore page. They don't want you to do that. They're straight up telling us also, do not use overly generic hashtags because it's just gonna make it harder for people. They are telling us, if you put a generic big hashtag that has millions and millions of people following that hashtag, it's gonna be harder for people to find you. So take that advice to not use those big, highly searched hashtags. And when you guys are asking me, what do you mean by highly searched? I mean the hashtags that when you put them into the search bar, they have like millions of searches on them, right? Or millions of tags on them, excuse me. That means they are big. You don't want to be in that number. You want to focus on hashtags that have lower number of tags because it makes it easier. And here you go. Last point. They're telling us straight up, do not use too many hashtags. Adding 10 to 20 hashtags will not help you get additional distribution. It's not going to help you. They're telling us not going to help you. So the choice is yours to do what you want with this information. I know I'm gonna be doing, and I know what our creators in our community are going to be doing. Let me know what you're gonna be doing in the comments below. I would love to hear what your thoughts are on this. What do you guys think is gonna happen? I always read my comments, so make sure you leave me one with your opinion on this topic. Now, I hope you guys liked today's video and found it helpful. I think a lot of us learned a lot about Instagram hashtag strategy moving forward. And if you are a creator that wants to be kept up to date with what is happening in our industry and want to have access to another network of creators, then I'm gonna leave a link below to the waiting list for Inner Circle. This is our private membership community of only creators and influencers, all niches, all levels. We talk about all things creator, growth, strategy. So definitely take a look at that link if you're interested in learning more and joining us in our weekly conversations. And as always, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, do all those good things to help support our channel. And see you guys in the next video.